Aha, don't drop it. Oh bloody hell, it's wet in there. That to me is typical aluminium. It started to rust. There's a little spring, I don't know how that works. Oh, you're joking. Look at that, she's open. Now open it this way.
Baby, I'm a gangster too. Takes me to tango. You don't wanna mess with me. Baby, I'm a gangster too. On my knees in the night. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too.
So previously in my episodes I managed to fix my key and the central locking, and I can unlock the trunk by pressing this button, no worries, that's fine. But I can't get this glass one to come up. It should separate, and the instructions say that you press and hold the trunk button and hold the switch on there, but when I do that it just unlocks and I can't, it's going to lift in one. So let's start with the fuses and see. It might just be that the micro switch on this is not working, could need to be replaced, could be the fuse, I don't know. Let's have a look and see. I must admit I would be surprised if it was a fuse, because otherwise why would the normal trunk open? So fuses are just in here. You push these little tabs down. I've done that a few times, and let's have a look. It says that the tailgate, here we go, F65, that one, F65. Nice long nose pliers helps. F65, where is that? Aha. It's a 10 amp fuse and it's right down in here. I'll get that there. Don't drop it. Well, there's a fuse. What I like to do is just give it a clean and make sure I use the little grips of the pliers just to clean the contacts. They are a little bit dirty, but I had it once on the rear windows weren't working, and I found just by literally cleaning the fuse it worked. So that's nice and bright again. So let's put that back in. Careful not to drop it. I've dropped one before. There are spares, but obviously you don't want to drop them if you can help it. There you go. Right, that's that back in again. Right, let's go and try the trunk and see if that makes any difference. I doubt it there. So I've decided to try and take this rubber off and see if there's anything like loose inside, or if there's any water in there. Hopefully it just comes off. I'm not sure how it's held on. Oh bloody hell. Oh, tell you what, that is wet in there. Oh god, that to me is typical aluminium. When it goes all white like that, there's water that's got in there and it started to rust. There's a little spring, I don't know how that works. I better try and keep it in that orientation so I know what to try and do to make the switch work. It's obviously moving something, I don't quite know what though. Let's put that there. Right, let's have a look inside this and see. Well, I can see there's a little tiny switch. That looks like a micro switch in there. Yeah, just inside there. I'm going to see if I can push that. I don't know if it's going to do anything. Oh, you're joking. Oh my god, that works. Huh. Look at that, she's open. Oh, so happy, so happy, so happy. Wow, right, so the switch is good. Fuse is good, obviously. But that cover is just soaking. I've got to do something with that. So how does that work? But look at this. Ta-da! I don't want to close it because I'll lock it again, but look. Yeah! Right, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? How the hell does that thing that goes on there open it? It must be, I mean, it's completely broken in two, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Or maybe I'll clean it and stick it together, but there's like a little nipple there on the end. I think that's what connects to that switch. Right. I wonder if Amazon sell them. Oh my god, look at this. Amazon actually sell them. Wow, that's it. There's your switch. What's the point in trying to fix it? You might as well just buy another one. It's obviously a common issue, and I can get that. Let's see if there's any that I do next day. Yeah, $17.99. It's okay, pretty cheap. I have got an idea though. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this all up, and even though this, how it works is this is the front face, so your fingers go in and they push, and this sits like that, and there's a little pivot there which inside will move. Now my thoughts are, it's a bit crude, but I'm just going to glue this in place so that when I squeeze it, it's not going to go anywhere, and it might just be enough that that nipple hits the micro switch. So let's give that a go and see. Let's give it a good clean because it's pretty wet in there. The other thing I've got to work out is why it's so wet. There must be water somehow just seeping around this seal. So I might use some Sikaflex just to sort of seal it and stop it happening again. But it's definitely, this white stuff that you see is definitely corrosion of the aluminium. Contact cleaner. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just buy a new one. They're not expensive. But at least I've got a boot that I can use, or a trunk. I can wait for the other one to arrive and then just stick it on if I feel that I need to. It sits like that. So I'm just literally going to glue it in place and see. You can see it's missing the bottom part there, just corroded away. But if I can get it to stick to the rubber, then that might still be enough just to hit that little micro switch. Is obviously, let's just measure it. Let's get halfway point so I can see. So it's 30 mil. Okay. This has to sit there, right on that line. Okay. Not drop of glue. If it works, then I'll put more glue on. But I'm sure that should be enough to hold it. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking off this trim. Undo all these screws here. All right. Okay. So there's definitely water that's getting in the back of that. I can see water, dirt here. I think what's happening is, I think it's a bit of a design fault. The water comes down, it's going on the back of that switch, it's getting around the seal of the rubber, and then it's just getting wet inside. So I'm going to put a bit of silicone sealant when I put it back together again. I needed to take that off to be able to put the seal on properly. There's two little tabs that you press in to get the holder out. So, yeah, that's all wet. That's not good. Alright, so here's a better look at that little micro switch. So that little metal piece that I'm gluing on the rubber has to hit that. And I think the water's coming around the back, it's tracking underneath, and then it just sits inside, and over time it just corrodes. Okay, at least I know how to change the micro switch. So I've put a bit of sealant just around there to stop the water getting under that seal. Just to smooth it down a wee bit. And now I have a working trunk. Right, let's just get the trim back on. So I can open it that way, or I can now open it this way. another job done.
So I decided to buy another boot lock. I got this one on Amazon. It's a replica, but I'm keen to see if there's any differences. Maybe they've changed it slightly from the one that I had on the car. And as you saw when I took it off, inside that little bit of aluminium, it just snapped in two. Just years of the constant usage, and then water had got in there and it caused it to corrode. So here it is. It arrived today. I've taken the cover off, and interestingly inside, have a look at this. The link for the Amazon boot lock is down below. So removing the rubber is exactly the same, but inside here, what I couldn't work out was where this spring came from. It was kind of sitting, not doing very much in my old one. And if I take this out here, the spring should have been attached to the back of the what was aluminium. This bracket is actually plastic. So I think that's a good improvement, because it's not going to perish and snap in two. Then on one side, it has a little pivot which goes into the corner, and the other side just sits in place. That's it. As you can see, all it does is, once it's in position, then that little nipple there pushes against the micro switch. Also on the micro switch, which I didn't have, there's a little lever that had obviously perished away as well. So it's got a nice firm push to it. I'm obviously going to put the rubber back on, and what I'm going to do around the edge here, I'm going to put a little bit of sealant just to stop any water getting in there. Now that I know how to fit this, it's a 10-minute job, so no problem at all.